fantastical. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the How to Yoga Tips. I am Theresa, your yoga guide. And one of the big pieces around doing standing postures and especially warrior three poses. Yes, shapes. I always call them shapes, poses, asana. Warrior three is a very strong rooting root chakra asana. It's a balance asana posture. It's a balance shape. It's about integral foundation and intentionally really rooting through your feet. So I'd like to run through a couple of really important pieces for everybody, which will make your warrior three much more successful. First of all, you don't need a blanket. You definitely, I can speak English, two yoga blocks. So when we practice Ardha, or sorry, that's not Ardha, I could say Sanskrit, Virabhadrasana Trini, Warrior 3, you do want to have your two blocks at the front of your mat. And we're just going to get right into it. The camera's up close so you can see. When I begin in my Warrior 3 postural shape and form, we come from a place of usually a lunge. So let's begin in the left foot forward. When I place my left foot forward, I like to line up my left foot, say the girth of a yoga block right up against the mat with my foot right up against that block. That's a great way to set the foundation so that you can have your fingers, if you don't need a block, in a low lunge first of all, and from whatever shape and form that you move into your warrior three, but we're just going to start from a low lunge. Once I establish that low lunge and my spine is nice and long, I'm going to pick up that back left knee, right knee, that's left foot, right knee. Find the extension of the spine, and a lot of us don't have that length in the spine here, just even in a lunge. So coming up onto your yoga blocks on your finger pads will create some more, that feels better. So don't be afraid to use your props. That back right foot, you want to keep it long and you want to keep it contracted. I see a lot of people with a weak back leg and it's like blah, 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 blah. Keeping it strong, pressing back through the 4 points of that right foot, finding the balls of that right foot, and then we'll extend the arms ahead of the left foot on the finger pads to whatever height you want your blocks to be at. Some of you are going to be on the floor. I would really suggest that you have your blocks because it makes it so much easier if you're lengthened. And see how much further my blocks are from my foot. Because eventually when I'm up, from my hip to my armpit, you want to have side body length. So for example, watch this. When I extend myself forward, I'm going to walk my right toes forward and I'm going to see that shifting. I'm going to take it back so my head doesn't get lost on the camera. So from here, lunge, hands forward, fingertips, lunge. And so when I eventually see my hip above my ankle, walking the hands forward so that you have this side body distance is the success. So I'm going to reassess my blocks so that they're equally divided and then reassess my standing left foot so that it creates like a pyramid. So I feel really grounded. And then this back right foot doesn't have to lift up just yet. You want to lengthen your spine. See how long my spine is so it's not doing this. I want to find that. So some of you may have to come up higher on your blocks, and that's absolutely fine. But making sure that that standing left leg is strong through the 4 points of the foot, then eventually reaching up through that right leg, not having bent or swinging it over towards the side, keeping it straight back. So having your toes on the floor is a great option. Keeping your neck nice and long, looking straight at the mat. Make sure your blocks are equally divided and you're not pushing into your blocks and wobbling your blocks around. You're lengthening up. And then when you're ready to square your hips, lifting up that back right leg, you want to soften and bend that standing left leg because this stuff gets really tight and that right leg is fully extended and it's not crossing over. That means a sign of like, the hip isn't strong. You can keep your toes on the mat. That's your warrior three prep. Or you're here. Some of you feel quite content here. Your hands aren't here. They're not over here. They're not wiggling. You're literally here and you want to lift up off the blocks so that you're not dumping into your blocks. Does that make sense? And then maybe as you extend through the crown of the head, looking straight at the blocks, You could bring your hands into Anjali Mudra, you could reach them back. But remember, you're not pushing yourself to do any of that shape and form. You want to slow it down and build your foundation up to the success of it. I'm going to switch sides so you can see what it looks like as well. So if I'm going to start with my right foot forward in my lunge, picking up that back left knee, a nice high lunge here, I am going to work my hands first here so I feel like, ah, oh, there's my lunge. Not my lunge, my lunge. And then from there, taking my hands ahead, reassessing, stepping that left foot a little bit more forward, squaring my hips, lengthening my spine. See how nice and long my spine is? It's not doing one of these. That's not success. My hips are squared, so my right hip isn't rolling out or down too far. It's squared. From there, finding that footing through the 4 points of my standing right foot, and my hands are supportive, and I'm not dumping into my fingers, then I can lift up through that inner right thigh, squeezing, that inner left thigh, pressing back through that leg. And if you need to stay here to keep that leg strong, that's awesome. Look straight down towards the blocks, side body distance from my hip to my armpit. See how far away my hands are on my blocks? Once you're up and you feel like, okay, there, you can bend that standing leg so you're not crossing that hip over or dropping it. I see a lot of people with their hips dropping and they're doing all kinds of wackadoodle stuff. That's not the posture. Come here and be here first. Then, reach it up. And then maybe you'll be able to bring your hands here as you reach back through that left leg, squaring your hips, reaching your arms back, whatever you feel the necessity. Or stay here until you feel that your body's strong enough. Literally, yoga is a practice of being in a shape that is optimal, that is strengthening you, that is directing you in that alignment. I see so many people doing their postures, their shapes, and not having a solid foundation and just wanting to get to the prize. Yet, they injure themselves by torquing and turning and twisting and overextending. That's not the practice. Humbling yourself. Oh yeah, yoga's humbling. Humbling the self to set your intention to be in your warrior 3 pose, and maybe it's going to look like that. Maybe you'll get up. Maybe one hand to the heart. Maybe 2 hands to the heart. Maybe your arms extend. Whatever it is for you, slow it down. The yoga tip for today, warrior 3, square your hips and use your blocks. Be kind to yourself. Love yourself. So just like anything, when you build anything, you want to make sure the foundation is solid. Warrior 3 is about your foundation and being solid in yourself. So from my light to your light, I am Theresa Gagnon, your yoga guide, and I am here to help you or to guide you to wake up and to listen and see how you may be the most authentic and optimal being by loving yourself. One posture with blocks and props as needed. Namaste. See you in the next episodes of How to Yoga with TheresaGagnon.com. Namaste.